Hello, my name is Dietmar Doerschlag. I'm a business transformation consultant with Valiantys. Thank you so very much for joining me on this video today. As a consultant working with a variety of clients in the Atlassian ecosystem, I have really come to appreciate the power of Atlassian's automation rules engine. It's something that we use all the time. It is really, really cool. And in this video, I want to elaborate a little bit more on how I use Atlassian's native AI capabilities called Rovo, assisting me in creating automation rules. So let's dive in. First of all, what are automations? Automations in Atlassian are really a no-code feature, no-code or low-code feature that allows you to really streamline repetitive tasks or processes. And we also always refer to automation as something that allows you to let Jira work on your behalf rather than human beings doing it. And it really is a great tool natively in Atlassian. And you can use it in Jira, in JSM, in Confluence, across the board. That really helps you to reduce manual work. And it also really improves efficiency. And what I really like is that it ensures a consistent process across projects, across spaces, because you let a rule-based engine do the work for you. Automations in Jira always consist of three elements. A trigger, this is a element in an automation rule that starts the rule, something that triggers something else to be done. You can optionally create conditions. It's essentially a filters that refines the rule to when it should apply. For example, you want the rule only to kick in for certain work items, for example, for bugs. And then most importantly, a rule always consists of an action, something that you tell the rule to be doing automatically. For example, you assign an issue, you're creating subtasks, you're creating linked work items, you send an email, you update a field. Really, the rules are endless that you can build. Now, in my practice as a Atlassian consultant, I work a lot with rules all the time, and the rules that I create are very often manually created. I create them essentially from scratch, just create them using the various building blocks. And sometimes that's a little bit tedious because rule building can be a little bit cumbersome, right? It can be quite complex in some cases. You have branches, you have if else then statements, etc. Therefore, I've also really appreciated the power of using templates. Atlassian created a great template library of rules that you can tap into, and I really recommend you do that. But in this video, I wanted to emphasize two other ways that you can use to create rules. And most importantly, I want to demonstrate how you can use Atlassian's native AI engine called Rovo to create rules. And I'm going to demonstrate this. And I'm also going to touch a little bit on the capability of importing rules via a JSON file and what that does. So let's dive in. First of all, I'd like to point you to Atlassian's great knowledge base. They have excellent resources out there. Just search for Jira Automation. You find many use cases. You find great little instructional videos that tell a little bit more what Atlassian's automation engine is all about. So I really encourage you to check this out. But I'm now going into the rules engine itself. I'm in a demo site here. And I'm now creating a rule using Rovo. So when you are in the rules engine, and of course we navigate through to the rules engine by going to the settings cog, and then we're coming down to system, and then we're navigating to global automation. Here you have the ability to create a rule mainly from scratch. This is what I elaborated earlier. You can use a template library, but now I want to show you how you can create a rule using Rovo. So let's click on create a rule with Rovo. And what you would now do is you simply put a statement into that Rovo dialog. And I have one that I'm saved here on the side, which I'm going to copy into this Rovo dialog. When a new work item of the type normal change, so I'm referring to obviously a ITSM project, JSM project, is created with the type normal change in a particular project, so this is essentially the trigger. What would I want the rule to do? Then create a linked work item of the type task. And the summary of the linked work item should say, complete a post-implementation review. So essentially what I want the rule to do is when a new change request is created, I want the rule to automatically create a linked work item, and that linked work item should have the work item type task. And the summary of that linked work item should say, well, you need to complete a post-implementation review. So let's let Rovo do its magic. We click on preview rule, and now Rovo is syncing and it's creating the rule for me using the syntax that I ask it to do. So let's see what Rovo does. So we have a trigger when a work item is created. So this is correct. Then what do I want it to do? Well, I want it to create a new task. This is correct. And I want the task to have the summary complete post-implementation review. That's also correct. And then lastly, I told it that it should link the work item to the most recently created work item. So this looks pretty good. There are a few minor things that we need to fix though. So first of all, it didn't apparently in the prompt pick up that I want this rule to be, let's click on rule details, I want this rule to be run in a particular project. So interestingly enough, Rovo did not pick up that part of the prompt. So I need to fix that. I want to run this in a single project, and the project that I want to run it in is the Valiantys CSM project. And then also, it did not specify that the linked work item should also be created in the same space. So this is something where Rovo did not work 100%, but it's close enough. It is a really good starting point. So let's go to rule details. So you see that the Rovo prompt correctly filled in or suggested a name of the rule and even suggested a proper description of the rule. So let's turn this rule on. So the rule is now turned on. So let's create a new change request and then let's run the rule. So I'm coming into the create normal change screen. The work type is normal change, and yes, I am in the space of which the rule is now part of. And I just say automation, give it a summary, which of course we know summary in Jira is always a required field. So let's test that rule that I created via Rovo. So it created a new test ticket, test CR, and lo and behold, the Rovo rule that I created with Rovo did indeed run. It created, upon creation of that new CR, and automatically a linked work item called complete post-implementation review. Fantastic. So if I now go into the rules engine and look at the audit log, so looking at that Rovo created automation rule into the audit log, we see that the rule successfully fired. So this is a great example where Rovo was of great help in creating a rule. Now let's create another rule using Rovo. And in this case, I want 3 subtasks to automatically be created. So when a work item of the type normal change is created, then I want Rovo to create 3 subtasks. The first subtask should read whatever, and then I also define what the 2 other subtasks should be called. So I run this Rovo prompt and see what Rovo does. So a little bit disappointing here that in this case, the trigger is correct, but then it did not put the Rovo prompt in correctly. So it did not create the 3 subtasks correctly, which I find interesting. And this tells me that Rovo can be a great help, but probably the Rovo prompt does not always correctly create the rule for you, but it certainly is a major help in getting started. So I really encourage you to use Rovo and use Rovo in assisting you creating cool automations, but there are some manual touch-ups that might be required. I want to wrap up this video by showing you one other cool feature, the 4th option in how you can create automation rules, and that is simply importing another rule that you created maybe in another Atlassian instance via a JSON file. So what does this mean? So let's go back to the rule builder. If you click on the top right corner, you can export and import rules. So in this case, what I'm demonstrating now is I created a really nice, pretty complex rule in another Atlassian instance. In that instance, I exported the rule to a JSON file, and now I'm importing that rule into that new instance. So I simply click Import Rules. I upload my JSON file. So this is now sitting in the JSON file is sitting in a download folder. So here's my JSON file. I simply open that JSON file, and I tell Atlassian or Jira that I want to copy that risk score calculation into a particular space in the instance that I'm in right now. So I want to, for example, import it into the Valiantys app dev space. Click Next. And now it's importing the rule. It just takes a few seconds until this is completed. The import is now done. I click on Done, and the rule was successfully imported. If I go back into my rules, here is the rule that I imported via that JSON file. Open that rule, and you see that the rule was completely copied in. Now, of course, it might require some touch-ups, right? Because maybe the conditions that I set based on, for example, custom fields in the target organization org instance might be different from the source org. So there might manual touch-ups required, but overall it is a major time saver. So with that, I thank you very much for having joined me on this video. Hopefully you found this informative. In summary, I really encourage you to use Jira Automation. It's a very powerful tool that is really helpful, and I really encourage you to go beyond creating automation rules simply manually. Do use the great Atlassian template library, automation rule template library, but also start really diving into what Rovo can do for you in utilizing Atlassian's native AI capabilities in assisting you creating automation rules, and also to take advantage of the JSON file importer as well. Thank you very much. All the best, and hopefully see you on another video.